Ladies and gentlemen, we are live for Late Night Live number 52, I think. Is this 52? Pretty sure this is 52. What up, OJ Swinny? How's it going? My music stopped. Why did my music stop? There we go. Just slow going into the next song. What up, Gloria? What up, Brolin? What up, Ashok? How's it going, everybody? I hope everybody is good. The hat is back. Yes, my hair has been growing. And, well, Vancouver is in the middle of a heat wave at the moment, and I do not have air conditioning, nor do most people in Vancouver. And our apartments slash homes are boiling in Western Canada at the moment. So my hair is a mess. I am sticky because my apartment is what's going on, Jay? Hey Rose. Yeah, the apartment is super hot. We probably won't have nib scratching sounds today, I'm guessing, because I have a fan blowing from the window right there directly on me to help cool me down a little bit. But yeah, so I have different noise canceling stuff going on. If you would prefer the nib scratches, let me know. We can test out the fan sounds and see if they're. It's not a loud fan, but we'll see how it sounds. Oh, what's going on, everybody? I'm excited to write today. I am excited to do envelope addressing, which is kind of an interest I don't have. I mean, I have envelopes, but I don't have just a bulk selection of blank envelopes that I'm gonna write on. I'm gonna be writing on regular paper, but we can try to recreate some of the some cool envelopes if we can. I just loaded some stuff on my phone, and my phone is basically dying trying to handle them. I tried to load Michael Sull's part of the Donner scrapbook. There is an envelope scrapbook, envelopes and names, and I tried to open that one on my phone, and it is about a 2 gig file, and my phone is not having it at the moment. So that's not loading well. Assignments? What does that mean, Hody? I don't know. What are assignments? You guys have stuff from the saga that you have to do? Let me get warmed up here. Oh, my arm is so sticky. I'm not usually a sticky arm person. It's not something that usually affects me too bad, but it is sticky in here today. My arm and paper and everything is very sticky. I'm sticky and gross. I could shower 18 times a day and I would still be sticky and gross. I've been having like 2 o'clock in the morning, quick cold showers before I go to bed, because it's the only way that I'm not feeling disgusting when I climb into bed at night. But that's all right. Oh, thank you very much, Tony. Oh, we got choppiness going on. Is there choppiness for you guys, or is that just me seeing that? Oh, my video is super choppy. That makes me nervous. I'll wait and let you guys tell me if the video is choppy for you guys as well. If it is, I might have to assess something. Oh yeah, my computer is... It hasn't done this in a long time. Alright, I might have to shut the feed down, and I might have to just be back in a couple minutes, unfortunately. Hopefully we can still get in on the same link if I reset this, but if not, there'll be a new link. Just check the new video, because it is, yeah, super choppy. Darn it. It hasn't done that in a long time. Oh wow, yeah, it's dying. Come on. I can't even move my mouse to shut it down. I have no control. Here we go, maybe this will work. Sorry, I'll see you guys in a moment. Start that way before. I don't know if anybody's there at the moment. I don't think so. Give me a second. Yeah, nobody's here. Okay. Are we back? Is this me? Are we maybe back? Yeah, my computer is not enjoying the stream today. But I think we're back. Let me know if it's choppy, but it seems like I think we're back good. I don't know what caused it to do that. Hopefully it stays good. Yeah, fingers crossed. What's going on, Marilyn? YouTube is bad that I missed last week. Maybe they're rebelling against me. Weird. I might just have some extra stuff open. I'm wondering if it might be because of Chrome. But it's not. Yeah, it's not chopping up right now, so I'll keep an eye on it, and hopefully it stays good. Oh gosh. Every time I lift my arm, you'll see this leather, my leather desktop. It's built into my desk, but it's not glued down. I didn't want to glue it just in case I wanted to replace it one day. But so every time I lift my arm, it's coming up with my arm. Everything sticks to me. Earlier today I was foiling, and I had foil was sticking to my arm. Because my desk is, as you guys know, rather small. So when I get busy, there's stuff all over it. And when there's stuff all over it, there's a lot of stuff to stick to my arm. What's going on, Judy? Because you're excited. Oh, that's a lot of pressure, Rose. Excited for envelopes. Decided to write in white ink today. We're using a brand new, I just took it out of the box about 15 minutes ago, brand new Leonard Principle today. It seems like it's not liking every... What up, Colby? How's it going, man? Yep, that makes sense, Jay. I feel like I'm not dripping, it's just, I'm just sticky. Just sticky. Sticky. Hey, Claire. Yay, welcome to a live. Today we're going to be discussing envelopes. This isn't like a lesson on writing envelopes with ornamental penmanship or anything like that. I just felt like as a theme, we would do some envelope-y stuff, and we would look at some envelopes and see how they were addressed. I wish in Canada there's we have our postal codes. I really dislike addressing Canadian postal codes. In the US, they just have the zip code, which is just 6 numbers. 6 numbers? 5 numbers, sorry. Which I like a lot more. But I'm jealous of most vintage envelopes because they don't require, or they never required, like a postal code or a zip code or anything like that. So there was just one less thing they had to do, so they could make things a little more snazzy, or to utilize the space that they had on a small envelope. Whoa, what happened to that exit oval? Sticky arm, we're gonna blame that one on. That'll be my excuse today. If my writing is bad today, it's totally because my arm is sticky. It has nothing to do with my skill level, just so we all know that. Oh, right. I should definitely, Colby, I should pull up, if I can find it in my phone, that image you sent me of it. That's, you're a lucky one to have that in your collection. That's dope. What's going on, Aravind? Can I do needle stitch script? I have done it before. It's not something I do often. I don't know if needle stitch script has like specific rules. But I believe I can. That's because I got sticky. I don't know why I'm doing S's. Ooh, nice exit oval on that one. Let's combine all those things, yeah, into one nice S. Right on, that's what we wanted. The hand seems to be in a decent mood. All things considered with the stickiness. Really? That's cool. I used to send a lot of postcards back in the day. I've been thinking about printing some, trying to just convince myself to write more. I don't know why. I haven't been writing. I mean, I've been practicing, but when I say write more, I don't mean actually writing. I mean writing letters and stuff. I have plenty of people, like all of you, and I have lots of friends in the dance world and people all over that I could write letters to, and I just never do. So, all these little, like, let's talk about envelopes and let's duplicate letters. That's all sort of a way of trying to convince myself that or convince myself to write more letters. I want to, I just never do. I sit down to write and I end up just filling pages of this, just practice instead of actually writing a letter. Ah, we could check that out as well, Ojaswini, the bottom shaded script. That is an interesting script. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe Nina Tran did a demonstration of that within the past couple weeks, I think. I'll be honest, I've never written it before. I've looked at it and I've sort of analyzed it a little bit. But I've never actually written it. So we could maybe give that a shot later today, potentially. Or if not, if we don't get to it today, another day. We don't have a specific itinerary. If we stray from envelopes today, that's completely fine. Awesome, she did. Thanks, Lori. Hey, Suzanne. Welcome. Oh, there's so much chatting today. I love it, but I can't read everything. I'm trying to stream using a different window on my computer, and the font is much smaller than what I'm used to. Normally, when I use Google Chrome for it, I can crank the volume, but I can't do that today. What's going on, Giancarlo? Happy belated birthday! The first member, if I'm not mistaken, the first member of the Discord whose birthday was remembered by the bot, which is kind of fun. It was sort of the first test to see if that worked or not. All right. envelope. Uh-oh, are there two D's in addressing? And two S's? Oh gosh, I can't spell. We all know this. But I don't feel like Googling anything. So I'll just wait till one of you guys tells me I did it wrong or not. The only thing, John, that didn't end up happening is in the members list, like I'm at the top in the admin thing, but then it says members. What should have happened is your name you should have been in one that came in between there above members called birthdays, and that never happened. And by the time I noticed that didn't happen, it was no longer your birthday. So whoever's birthday comes up next, we'll find out if it does that or not. And if it doesn't, then I'll have to figure out why it's not doing that. Because it's supposed to, so that everybody can easier see when they log into the Discord whose birthday it is, if anybody in there is having a birthday. Oh, Aravind, James is that's smart to have your envelopes sorted like that. Currently, my envelopes and letters, the letters are all in the envelopes, are in a banker box. There's just a box full of envelopes. And then I have here close to my desk, if I can find them, these are my closest at hand letters that I have to respond to right now. Letters to family and letters that I've received recently, relatively recently, within the past 6 months or whatnot, that I have to respond to. So they're all here beside my desk. As again, if I have them here and I see them all the time, I'm hoping that it will convince me to, write so-and-so a letter, because I owe a lot of people letters. But there is a box of probably, a lot of letters and envelopes that I have not responded to because I am a horrible friend and horrible correspondence penman. Ooh, and Ashok's, yay! Your postal service, okay, cool. Yeah, send me your new address. So I will write you a new letter and send that with the old one, which I haven't sent any of those old ones, so it's not like you missed out on anything. They're all chilling. They're all waiting. These are my beautiful envelopes. I got these printed 2 years ago, or 2 years ago or so, when I wrote a letter a day for the month of February, but didn't have envelopes. And I wanted nice envelopes, so I ordered these envelopes. I did this design a long time ago. The original is quite big. It's on an 11 by 14 sheet of paper, but I had it shrunk down, which made all the lines didn't print. Also, it's textured paper, but all the lines didn't print perfect. But I kind of like it because it makes an interesting texture. It's interesting paper. It's kind of risky because it is textured, so there's a chance that I'll nib snap on it, but it has a cool feel to it, and I liked the sample of it, so I got them made in that. But I've got them, and I still didn't get around to actually making the letters. I can write, yes, I'll write on one of these envelopes. I'll wait till a little bit later. Or here, I guess I don't have to wait till later, except I have white ink now, and white ink won't really work on these. I'll wait till I'm a little bit better warmed up, because those are nib snappy. But yeah, my 6-month course with the European Pointed Pen Society just ended, which Rose and some other people in here were in, and I'm super sad that it's over, and I want to write letters and I should have done an exchange, but I've been so crazy unorganized lately, just in my own life and everything, that I feel like I haven't properly closed the class yet. luckily the videos and the community and everything are still active, so I will hopefully do that very soon. Because I don't feel like I've given the class a proper, the proper clothes that it deserves, and I want to. And there's no real time limit on that type of stuff, so. Oof. Oh, sorry, I zoomed out. Let me zoom back in here for you guys. Well, yeah, and I know members of the Discord have been talking about wanting to do like a not so much an envelope exchange, but a samples exchange. One of these days, so I have to orchestrate that. That is, I'm very, very happy with that ascender. I normally don't signal out individual ascenders, but that just came out of the pen so smooth, and I didn't even think about it. And that's essentially, in my head, that's like a perfect ascender. Ascender, sorry. Stoked. Okay, let's check out some envelopes here. There was a couple that some people on the Discord, we'll start with, I believe Jay sent me a couple, or posted a couple that he wanted to check out. So these ones are not in the PDF that I posted on the Discord. If I can find my downloads folder in my phone. Where is my downloads folder in my phone? What the heck? There you are. So the first one is this W.C. Henning. This is a Mataraz envelope. Chris, yes, I am hot with this hat on, but actually I don't, the hat, no. I will say I am hot, but it is not because of the hat. I'm hot because my apartment is hot. But this hat, like I dance in it, so I guess I'm used to wearing hats when I'm in hot scenarios. So it doesn't clue in. I would rather not be wearing glasses, but giving my glasses or my contacts a break, giving my eyes a break this week. But no, the hat doesn't make me feel any hotter. So there was like a couple ways that there's really only like two ways that the old letters were done. And what I like is the cascading, everything sort of falls off or cascades down to the right. So it doesn't follow the rules of, not rules, but like regular formatting, where it'd be like paragraph formatting or indented alternating, which is how we envelope today. We usually center everything or stuff like that, like in the wedding industry and things like that. That's how we address envelopes. But in envelopes with ornamental penmanship, you would see the name is usually the bigger thing. In this case, a gorgeous, which we're definitely going to replicate this today, W.C. Henning signature, which is very nice. Esquire. Are there rules to adding Esquire behind your name? Can I just start addressing myself as MGWard Esquire? What do I need to do to be esquired? Is there a rule? Do I have to be like a professor or a teacher? I want to put those words before my name as well, but I don't think I'm technically allowed. But there, and then you'll notice, then we go to the right, and then we have Cedar Rapids, and then if there was a third line, that would just go a little bit more to the right, and it would continue going down to this bottom corner. And sometimes they would put the, let's say, like for the Penman's Journal, for example, for what's in that scrapbook, a lot of them say the Penman's Journal, New York, NY. And then down in this bottom corner here where it says American Penman, they would put like the, what is it, 390? I don't remember the actual number, but that's the actual address. So it'd be the equivalent of us going like MGWard, Vancouver, BC, and then putting my my apartment number and an address right here, my street address. Which I was talking with James, with Himasf, HIMASF. Himasf, is that how you say it, James? If you're in here, I never know if James is in here, if our lurker is in the chat today or not. But I was chatting with him last week, when we were discussing doing the addressing live. If that would fly today, like if we could get away with that. The only way I think I'm gonna just do a bunch of envelopes. I'll send like a bunch of envelopes to one person. Like every day I'll send a new one and do it a different way and see if they have issues. Obviously we can't get super ornamental. We can with a name, I feel like. So long as the address itself and the city and postal code or zip code is super legible, I feel like we can sort of go to town on the name. I want to try to replicate this. I'm going to put it out of frame. If you want to see this photo, it's on the Discord. Just go to the OP chat channel and scroll up a little bit. Jay posted that the other day. Well, I know with Lord, because there's Sir, and there's one that I know the whole, like, if you buy... James is here. Awesome. I figured you were here. There's the one, is it Lord? Where if you own land in Scotland, like you can buy 1 square foot of land in Scotland, and then you're technically allowed to call yourself Lord MGWard if I wanted, which, not gonna lie, super tempted to do that. I would love, I mean, it'd be cool to have land in Scotland. I'd love to have more than a square foot. But I know there's companies that sell land. I gotta read, because now you guys have answered my question about Esquire, and I'm just chatting away. I have to act as a knight? I am a knight. I'm a knight of Penmanship. Yeah, you're not wrong, Aravind. Calligraphy especially ornamental penmanship. For people who aren't used to reading ornamental penmanship, it is rather challenging. Esquires for lawyers? Oh, I don't want to be a lawyer. Are you sure there's not, is there a loophole, Rose, that I can get in on? Because I don't want to be a lawyer, but I do want to be referred to as Esquire. See, that's smart, Browin. I've done that before. I do the names fancy, but then I go very simple for the actual address itself. Right, pending man's name. No one's title is used, typically in an address or letter of other documents. Okay, so it's just a polite title. Someone of high societal status. Well, obviously, that refers to me. I am the highest of the societal echelon, wouldn't you say? Cool, I'm definitely not going to pass the bar. Wow, we have all these textbook definitions of Esquire coming in and out. Oh, so I got to talk in a British accent if I want to be called Esquire. Well, all the time? Or is it only when I talk in an accent? Yes, I wear a bowler hat. So obviously I am esteemed, right? That's how that works. Colby has fancy shoes, so he's obviously a noble person. Totally. I agree with that 100%. I am choosing to ignore the fact that I need to be a lawyer. I'm going to be more worldly than just having a North American view on things. Because it's obviously not going to be, I don't care if it's a legal title. It's just like the fact that, oh, my phone stand no longer works. Cool, that's helpful. I want to live to be 100 years old, just because I also want, before my name, I want the title of centenarian. I think I've mentioned that on stream before. I want that to come before my name. Because the titles are cool. They're fun. I know I've done some Googling in the past on like teacher versus professor versus things like that. Like who's technically actually allowed to call themselves professor and stuff like that. Because I'm not really a professor of penmanship. Could I be one? Probably. But I'm not a part of an establishment that would grant me said title. That's very true, Colby. We can do whatever we want because it doesn't actually matter. Nobody's actually going to be checking us. Like, oh, don't deliver this letter because the MrMGWard that lives at this address is not an Esquire. So, burn that letter right now. All right, let's try this. So we're just going to imagine that my envelope is my paper here. Maybe I'll do this one on an envelope later, but I'm digging the white ink today and I want to keep writing in white ink. And I don't have any dark envelopes. I'm just going to write. This is a very cool signature. This is like a Sixling and Sunday type of thing. This doesn't even have anything to do with envelopes. I gotta learn how to do that W first. Okay, my writing is very not good today. No, that's not true. Not that my writing's not good. It's that doing a signature design on the fly without actually training it first is not smart. Well, I use Penman in my name. That is a title that I do grant myself. And I don't think anybody can really refute that one. That's what my envelopes say on them. So I hope I've earned that title. Oh no, paper! You're not allowed to curl up because of my arm sweat. Please desist. I gotta get used to this name first if I'm gonna properly do this envelope. Signature writing challenge with sticky forearms. Here we go. Might have to go smaller. How does he? Oh, that goes around. And that goes below. Jeez. And I don't want to stop. I want to keep going, so I normally wouldn't have trouble reaching all that way. But today, my arm is very sticky. I could go whole arm, but I don't really want to. That's passable, but it's not the best of recreations. MMMD AMT Calig. Nice. I could never be a lawyer. That's way too much school. Me and academia didn't really get along for nearly enough for all that. Amateur calligrapher. I like that on the end. That's good. That's a good title. Ooh, rough. See, Henning Esquire, and then we drop down a couple lines in this instance. We go at Cedar Rapids. I didn't really realize that this was going to be essentially just a signature writing stream if I'm doing envelopes. Ooh, a doctor of penmanship. That's probably doable. I mean, there were people back in the day that got honorary doctorates for like tap dance and stuff. So I feel like you'd be able to do that for penmanship. This is how? I'm trying to figure out how he did this C. There's definitely a lift there. Then he came down. Then he did the... That's weird. Now we go up. Ooh, a one-stroke R. That's fun. Oh, I went above. That's supposed to go below, but that's okay. PhD. I don't know that I teach enough to put like educator. I feel like I'm an educator. I would like to put, they'll do like MGWard, penman, educator. They would always do like, there was like editor, doctor, blah, blah, blah. And they all had all these accolades and stuff, which I don't have. So I'm just making up my own. And then you went down just like one line and put IA down at the bottom corner, which I like that. The province or state down in the bottom corner. Wait, and there's no exit stroke on that A at all. Because he didn't go all the way around on his I. Interesting. And then in this bottom corner, I didn't give myself room. He wrote American Penman. Oh, Mataraz. I would love to get better at that W, though. That is a very weird letter for me. It shouldn't be, because it's the same as doing a variation of a capital P stem. Just feels very weird. This part, I don't like. I gotta control that bubble a little better. And come up higher and do that. Yeah, like a capital U. That's what I have to do. Come on, brain, just do that. Just do it like a capital U. Oh, the way they addressed envelopes, it works so good for ornamental penmanship. Um, what we'll have to do, um, we'll have to get, so like we should Google some like companies or just some famous addresses and create. We can do experiments. We can create some addresses in different formats and see how legible and how we can get things to sort of work for like Google or for Pixar or I don't know. Iampith. Does Iampith have an address? We could write John Neal Books. We could do theirs. Since they would be a person that would receive penmanship alphabet or addresses. W is a little better. Just gotta make that first stroke super tall. What's going on, Jose? Ooh, we could do Harry Potter envelopes. Yeah, for sure. Do they have addresses? Ugh. My arm is sticking so much. Alright, that's enough of W.C. Henning's Madara's envelope. Now let's do a fictional, and somebody give me let's get an address of Harry Potter. Of course, it's the, wait, and what's their street address again? Yeah. The cupboard under the stairs. Oh, and I want to do one for Sherlock Holmes. 221B Baker Street, isn't that his? What is the... Oh, I'm a Harry Potter fan. I should be able to remember Harry Potter's address, and I cannot. Number 4, Privet Drive. Of course, thank you. So if we imagine that this is our envelope, I should just do these on my actual envelopes, but Chin is smart though. When she'll send like crazy envelopes, she puts them in clear plastic envelopes with a sticker that has the address printed on it, so that they usually will always get delivered. "15 Yemen Road." Oh, we could all, what is it? P. Sherman, 52 Wallaby Way, Sydney. That one from Finding Nemo. It's interesting how addresses can just stick. All right, so Harry Potter. What's Harry's middle name? James? I think it's James. H.J. Potter. All right. So we have the stamp is going to go up here. We'll have a return address here, so I will start. Ooh, this is a tiny envelope. H.J. Potter. Let's just wing it. See how it ends up. For his lightning scar. Haha. Except his scar only has one of those. I shouldn't have done two. but that's okay. I think Jin just has had way too many envelopes not reach where they're going, so she started doing that as a safety precaution. Harry James Potter. My age is a little too close together, but I like that design. For on the fly, came out kind of neat. Oh, I didn't do Mr. Whoopsies. Now, the cupboard under the stairs comes next. See, and this is one of those ones where I want to do number 4 Privet Drive next. We're going to do this in vintage style here. Number 4 Privet Drive. Privot? ET. Number 4. Rivet. This might be too loopy. Drive. Where were they? Surrey? Tell you what, Mike, why don't you just Google it and then you can stop asking questions and just know what you're talking about. Oh yeah, little whinging. Got you. My phone is going banana pants right now. Sorry, everybody. Okay. Little whinging. Sorry, I can't fit all that on here. This is too small of an envelope. Maybe Surrey could just be SR. This could also be done much smaller. Probably should have been done much smaller, just single spaced. Mike's devices don't like the temperature of Mike's apartment, perhaps. See, a little whinging, and then I would want to put like SR either on that same line if my envelope was bigger. And down in this bottom corner, I would want to write, if it was a longer envelope, obviously, there's too much. I'd have to write a lot smaller to fit all this on this tiny envelope. like so, but that would be like much farther away from the actual address. Yeah, like modern addresses have like 2 or 3 extra lines compared to every like business penmanship address is like 2 or 3 lines max. Not business penmanship, every other like ornamental penmanship address. No, usually the bottom left corner, the top left corner is return address, or like that's where the custom printing for like Mataraz's envelope or something like that would go up in the top left corner, and then they put the. It was very common, as an example here. I'll pull up the scrapbook that it didn't scan, but that I took photos of. Let me find a good example in here to share for us to look at. Here's a good one. I don't know what penman this is. There's a lot of sort of unknown penmen in this book. Oh, that's too bright. There we go. So if we see here, this was going to Healy, who was the editor of the Penman's Journal at the time. But this is the standard way would be Mr. H.G. Healy, or just H.G. Healy, depending. Then New York, New York. And that was the only thing. Just, that was it. That went in the ornamental part. And now in the bottom left corner, we get the address of the Penman's Journal, which was 229 Broadway, and Penman's Art Journal. Normally, Penman's Art Journal wouldn't always be here. Usually with these envelopes, it's either addressed to the Penman's Art Journal or addressed to H.G. Healy, usually sort of one or the other. But yeah, so the actual like business address or street address goes in the bottom left corner. Yeah, like it's... And my biggest issue with... I was talking earlier about my dislike of the Canadian addresses. Love Canada, but Canadian addresses are postal codes. Like it's easier in the U.S. Like what was my... in the U.S., my zip code was simple. 91601, I think it was. Changed a bunch of times. Or 91604, can't remember. But the numbers are chill, because what I used to do is I liked spraying them out, so they would basically fill like either the whole bottom of the envelope or the span of the entire address. So it was okay. But with what I dislike about Canadian is that they are alternating letters and numbers. So for example, it would be like T7 and 1 P9, which just doesn't look great in... It doesn't look good in ornamental penmanship, really. So I've done it in the past. I'll just do like lowercase. Like that, but that doesn't look that cool. Wait, what's 90102? Do you mean 90210, Oja Swinney? Did you type that wrong? Because that's 90210 is Beverly Hills if you're talking about the TV show and their zip code. 90210 is the famous Beverly Hills zip code. Yeah, Canadian postal codes are problematic. I mean, they're okay. They're best in business penmanship. I guess that's what it boils down to. Uh, Ornamental penmanship envelopes should maybe be addressed with business penmanship and not ornamental penmanship, because that just doesn't look good. And this way is boring. But you can't send a letter without one, or it won't get sent. So I always battle with trying to find a way to make that look better. But also, ornamental, like the most important part to be legible is, or one of the most important parts, is the zip code, or is the postal code. So if that's the part that's all ornamental, because I could connect these the way I like to with capitals, but then it's not going to be, it'll be even less legible for the post office people. So I don't really know what to do other than going business penmanship, which we all know I don't like writing business penmanship because I find it boring. I don't even know how to do these letters in business penmanship. How do they go here? T 7 N 1 P 9. Like, that looks okay. Side note, also, I don't do a lot of business penmanship, but I kind of like those capitals. They don't look too bad. I kind of lost my hairline on the T and the 7, but those are decent business penmanship capitals. But it's boring. Like, it's legible. Should it be done this way? Probably. Is it smart to do it this way? Yes. Does it actually look beautiful? Yes. But it's boring. I want it to be overly fancy. But I guess that just means we gotta make the names like crazy super fancy and then do the rest simple. I mean, that's like, if we look at this, that's essentially what they did here. Sorry, phone is too bright. They basically just turned down, or they turned down the fanciness, and it is shaded, which I could practice that. Slightly shaded business penmanship to give it a little bit of an OP feel. Which you do see in, I mean, they still call it business penmanship, but I mean, a lot of the old penmen, if they were using like a Zenarian fine writer, or if they were using a good flexible nib, they would often get a little bit of variation. Sometimes, most of the time, it was probably on purpose. Sometimes it probably just sort of happened and they didn't really think about it all that much. But it added like a slight bit of character to the business penmanship. Just like it gives it a little more life, which I do like. Have I practiced writing business penmanship with slight shading? No, not at all. Should I? Yes. Have I really thought of it very much before? No. Otherwise, I probably would have practiced it. But I think we've all come to the conclusion that we just can't do them in crazy ornamental capitals, because it takes up too much space, and it's illegible, unfortunately, to the postman. See, and I use block capitals for my return address. For my return address, I'll go, again, to reference to my little envelopes here. I on purpose didn't print them with a return address just in case I moved, which I have moved since I got these printed, so yay. And then in this space up here, I will write in block capitals. I will write like 207 74 . would write it nicer than this. I wouldn't speed through it. Oh, and I would actually spell Vancouver right. Vancouver, BC. And then the zip code. That's not my address, for the record. I don't even know if there is a Hunt Street in Vancouver. That's just random words. But I write that really small, just above my my little printed thing there. Dude. Okay. James wants a Dennis alphabet or a Dennis envelope. We can try a Dennis envelope. Dennis envelopes are sort of banana pants. If anybody's in here that's not on the Discord and you didn't see the Dennis stuff that I posted the other day, he was kind of, he was like the mad scientist of the old he was an engrosser and a penman. Most of what he was famous for, well, I guess the Dennis Swann, he was famous for his birds, but engrossing was his main deal. Let me try to find one of his envelopes here. These ones are really cool. Another famous, just as a side note, another famous engrosser who's known more for like certificate design and than his penmanship was P.W. Costello, and his writing has so much character. Let me get this so you get a little bit better focus. Like this writing here, obviously not what we consider standard OP or standard Spencerian or business penmanship, but it has it's very vertical. It has so much character. But see, he followed the similar premise as the last one. Well, actually, no. He omitted the NY. He went Mr. Horace G. Healy, number 229 Broadway, New York, and then just decided that the post workers would know that that meant New York, New York, and then put the Penman's Art Journal down in the bottom corner, which is interesting. Okay, back on the search for Dennis. Oh, see here, this is why I like going through, or why I like having this PDF created, because there are so many just cool variations. Okay, so here's Dennis. Do we want to do that one? That one's not as crazy. I'll see if I can find a... This one's bananas. Let's try this one for fun. I'm not going to do the bunny, but I think this is actually the one I posted on the Discord. If not, it's very similar to the one I posted on the Discord. I mean, honestly, if I was a post worker, luckily, I mean, everything down here, super legible. Well, Broadway is a little snazzy, but for that day and age, this is super legible. So this, I feel like if they delivered this to 229 Broadway, everybody knows, or this, you don't even have to be able to read this at that point. And then, yeah, the tiny little bunny. That's just monoline, just a business penmanship bunny chilling on the end of his writing. Cause why not? This is, a lot of people aren't familiar with this. To my knowledge, Dennis was one of the main people who did this, potentially the only one who really did this. But he would do cross writing. So he would write in one style normal, like a regular italicized, like angled 52 or whatever degrees, Spencerian or ornamental penmanship. And then he would use a backhand script and write something else over top of it. So they were both legible because they were angled different directions. Well, legible. But they just, yeah, they're two completely different things. The crazy part, I've never really practiced backhand script before, but whatever, let's give it a shot. Before we try to do the cross writing, I'm going to try to do H.G. Healy first. No, I'm going to try to do just the backhand writing. H.G. Healy, I know I can do. The backhand writing, that's going to take some figuring out. Mama Ward, she's good. She's on the farm with her cats, trying to stay trying to stay cool because they're in the middle of the heat wave as well. Yeah, madness is right. Okay, so in order to do this backhand writing, I'm guessing that I would just turn my paper at a much different, I would write it at this angle probably. Great for a, if I was writing with a straight pen, or a fountain pen or something, this is like backhand or vertical writing. You get really nice, good shades when you can't use an oblique holder. So that's often when they would use more vertical writing or a backhand script. I don't know if that's even the proper name for it, but technically to write this, like I want to go at this angle, I think. How does he even... Okay. He has a slight shade, but we're going to try to do it without a shade, just to keep things simple. I mean, it's 38, 39, so we're not far from 43, Odiswini. It's very hot here at the moment. It's in the mid-30s indoors, so it's hot. Obviously, it's not as hot as everywhere else on the planet, but for Canada, where we're used to cold, it's hot. And I mean, LA gets lots of heat waves, but places that are used to getting that hot have air conditioning. Canada doesn't have air conditioning because we have heaters, because normally we don't need air conditioning. Like in LA, this would be not, this is just a regular summer day in Los Angeles. See, you're sitting in 28, 25, yeah, because you probably have air conditioning. Exactly. Everywhere else that gets hot has air conditioning. Canada, we don't use air conditioning. We use tough it out or buy an air conditioner, but most people don't own one. Oops. The part that I have to figure out, I don't think he actually did it with his paper at the same angle that I'm using right now. Because the weird part is the movement going down. Like normally we cascade across the page, and I'm getting really strange movement going down, or it really hinders what I can do. Ooh, that was not a very good J. So could that be better? Most definitely, but I think that's a valiant effort for a first try. And then over top of that, or I mean, I don't know which one he would write first, but he would do his standard. I mean, it's not even really OP, it's just like a... There we go. The closest to Dennis that I've ever written. I think my camera might have been not set to the proper focus, so I apologize if some of that was out of focus. You want to see snow? Oh, come to Canada. There's plenty of snow in Canada. And that was something that that Dennis did a lot. Like I'll find some more examples in here. Is it blurry? What? Or was it blurry while I was writing? Oh! Dizzy Bunny! Who subscribed? My image is too small. We got a new subscriber. Welcome, new subscriber. Dizzy Bunny. Who was that subscribed? Now I have to find out so I can say their name. That was Francesca Subra. I apologize if I said your last name wrong. Welcome to the channel, Francesca. Okay, let's see what... Hody, I think if it's blurry all the time, it might be your internet, because I don't think it's blurry. Oh, Rose, I think if you just look... I just looked up Dizzy, and I think that's what made it come up on IG. But here, you can see another example of Dennis. Not the same cross, but a similar idea, where he has here... So he did H.G. Healy up this way, and then just sort of disregards all of that and just writes Penman's Art Journal on its own. But he'll just write, as long as it's on a different angle, I don't think he really cares. I know back in the day, there were, not just Penman, but I think in correspondence in general, I'm assuming it had to do with saving supplies, for if paper was expensive and things like that. They would write like one way, similar to how we practice and rotate the page. They would write one way, and then you turn the page, and then they would write the opposite direction, so the angles didn't match up. So when you held it the right way, you could read both of them. And that's a similar idea to what Dennis did in his ornamental work. So long as it was at a different angle, it seems like he just didn't really care. He crossed everything, and he's sort of like, well, you figure it out. And he also, I think, had a little bit of disregard for his readers, because a lot of his stuff gets crazy illegible. There's some letters that he wrote that I've genuinely tried to read, and I just can't. To me, they're illegible. So here's some more examples. Since we're just talking about Dennis, show some more Dennis examples here. Oh, focus. So this one, like, it says Penman's Art Journal back there in a monoline backhand script, but you can basically not see it at all because of how thick these lines are, which is very common for Dennis. He would write this way very, very often. And look at that beautiful little chill bird on the end. And then, so his was just H.G. Healy, 229 Broadway, New York. So I think that's sort of the takeaway of all this, is that we simplify the address. We make the names as crazy complicated. We'll get our Dennis on. Make the name super complicated, super OP and crazy, but then keep the street address and city and all that stuff as simple as possible, even if that's boring. Oh yeah, but his jagged edges were intentional. Oh, just Swanny. Because he would very much not make them. Now, I liked it when he did these type of ones, where it's same idea, but he uses two different colors of ink, which is great. Yeah, unless it's a post office box, Maryland, we don't do that. The P.O. box has to be nice and legible. But this one, I like this one because he uses this like red maroon ink for Penman's Art Journal, and then Horace Healy's in black. Also, it's not crazy. I mean, both of the scripts independently are nice and clean and easy to read. So this one's really cool. I like this design. I don't like the 229 Broadway as much as some of his other ones, but I think it's cool. And then here's one that's just messy. Everything Dennis wrote was different, which is neat. Like he's a perfect example of a crazy talented, skilled penman who he didn't really care about legibility. He cared about his art. Like the things that needed to be legible were legible. I like in this one he has B-Way instead of Broadway, which is just kind of fun. But he says, I'm Dennis, you love me, so take it or leave it. Basically, it sort of feels like the mentality he had. And then contrast to, now we have C.E. Donner, who's purely business penmanship, but shaded business penmanship. So it has a little bit of character, a little bit of style to it, following everything cascading down this way. But I like this cascading down this way thing. I think that's something we don't really do anymore, and I really, really like it. I always forget about it when I address envelopes. But it was, when I was talking to James the other day, and he mentioned the cascading thing, and it reminded me. I mean, I've looked at a ton of envelopes, but I always forget. And you can see here another good example of the two main formats. Penman's Art Journal, 229 Broadway, New York, NY. Or Mr. H.G. Healy or Penman's Art Journal, New York, New York, NY, with the street address on the lower left corner. Which I really like this. I'm just curious if they'll let us get away with this today. Enemy number one? I mean, maybe, but I mean, all that being said, the important parts of this address... Whoa. What did I do? I'm on the wrong page now. Look at this one. The important part of this address is this part, which they can read. It doesn't really matter who it's getting to. The post office guy just has to get it to 229, even though that is rude. That's a 209 with a 2. It looks like he turned a 0 into a 2, which that's rude. That would likely be delivered to the wrong place. Except back then, I'm assuming since it was a time that you didn't need a zip code, I'm also pretty sure you could get away with the fact that if it looked like this, everybody knew it was going to the Penman's Art Journal. Every mail guy, every post worker who worked at that post office knew that if something came in that looked like this, oh, just take it to 229 Broadway. That's where it's going. Because, if any ornamental penmanship stuff, because they were a big establishment, they'd be getting letters like this all the time. So if anything came on looking like this, it's sort of auto-deliver, I would imagine, to the Penman's Art Journal. But they're fascinating to go through, to see how different a lot of them are. Envelopes are really cool. I'm pretty sure, I think there's some Mataraz ones in here somewhere. I haven't really spent a lot of time looking through that PDF yet, so I don't exactly know what's all in there. I like this, though. This was fun to do. Maybe that's something I'll do. Maybe I'll try to rekindle the Dennis spirit and do some things like this. I don't have a business name, but that's okay. Oh, maybe just a bit of silliness, really, and then go in the regular way, MGWard. That's my own name. I can't write a letter to myself. That doesn't make sense. The nightmare as a postman, Dennis. What's going on, Jessica? You're not late. We're just hanging out. I haven't actually done really that much writing. I've been doing a whole lot of talking today. Aravind, the biggest difference between business penmanship and Spencerian are the shades. Well, and the capital letters. The capital letters are very different. The transition sort of goes business penmanship, artistic penmanship, and then ornamental penmanship. Artistic business, I think artistic penmanship is what they called it. It's not like an official script, but it's basically a variation of business penmanship that is shaded. So it's the very, very simplified ornamental penmanship, similar to a traditional Spencerian, like super traditional Spencerian. Like what you would do, for example, if you were doing the IAMPET super certificate program. The traditional Spencerian from Theory of Spencerian Penmanship is what in like the Business Educator and whatnot would be described as like an artistic penmanship or a it's not business penmanship. What would they call it? There are specific names for it, and I just can't remember them because there was many of them because it wasn't like a script. And then when you get into what we refer to as ornamental penmanship and what they referred to as well, then it's sort of all bets are off. Pretty much anything goes at that point. You can flourish and go crazy. But business penmanship is very straightforward, to be executed basically as fast as you can do it and make it be as clean, as legible, and as computer-like as possible, pretty much. Let's go brighter here now that the phone's away. Oh, I gotta change ears. My earbuds are hurting my ears today. Oh, did our music stop? There we go. Weird. My buds don't usually hurt my ears, but they hurt my ears today. Maybe it's because I took a week off. My ears shrunk last week, I guess. Bottom shaded script. We've only done one envelope today. I want to do. What do I want to do? I want to write another fake one. Maybe I'll do it on an actual envelope. Maybe we'll do that. We'll swap into some darker ink. What are we talking about? Ink here? Oh, walnut it's a lot thinner and yeah, waterier than Sumi. Sumi can be very thick. I will say, just so you're aware, I personally am not a fan of Sumi ink. I only use it when I need to. It is not one of my go-to inks at all. Some people really love it. I don't like the hairlines that it gives, so I don't use it. There are ways of mixing it and thinning it down and getting it to a right consistency where it can yield really nice work. I'm just, on average, usually not a fan of it. Watery isn't the word I would use, Aravind, because there are inks. For example, which one is it? Yoke Penmanship, Yoke's Pen Company. One of his inks, was it the Japan ink? I think his Japan ink was very thick feeling. It was a really thick ink, but it came out of the pen somehow really flowy, and it flowed really nice. So different inks have different flow to them. Walnut ink flows really well because it's very thin and watered down quite a bit. There are other inks that can be really thick that still flow really well but give a good hairline. It kind of depends, since they all use sort of different ingredients. They're all different. It all depends on, yeah, watery. It depends what you mean by watery. Like to a lot of people, to people who are used to using like gouaches and things like that, walnut ink is basically water, but it gives really, really nice results. What are we gonna do here? I'm going to go to Iron Gall ink, I guess. That's the plan. And I'm gonna try to write some envelopes, some actual envelopes. That's a little bit stressful. Gouaches can be good. The only gouache that I use is white. The white ink that I use these days, my favorite is the St. Petersburg Masterclass gouache. I used to use bleed proof white for pretty much everything, but I've been converted. Find a scrap sheet of paper here, just to make sure this ink is going to flow good with this new nib. Oh, it didn't give me my first hairline, which is a problem. Come on. Nope. Why is it doing that? That bugs me. Is it the nib or is it the ink? We don't know. Let me try another nib. Again, Jessica, I guess that comes down to, I mean, some fountain pen inks are really, really good or work really well for calligraphy. Other ones don't. Unfortunately, I don't think there's a master list of what works and what doesn't, because it also depends on style. The inks that I use are not going to be my best inks. Might be somebody who does like slower writing or like does engrosser script or something like that. It might also be their favorite inks, but they're going to be our favorites for different reasons. Like my requirements for an ink are much different than somebody who doesn't do rapid ornamental penmanship, because there are things that I need an ink to do that if you're going slower, an ink won't do. But there's things that I don't need an ink to do, like there are if you're doing engrosser script or different writing or flourishing. There might be other requirements that you need that I don't need. So everybody's ink needs are sort of unique to them a little bit, I would say. Ooh, this nib is scratchy though. Yeah, I don't know if I can use this one. Well, shoot. I want to use the new one, but it's not writing well. Why isn't it writing well? It's fully prepped. I don't think it's misaligned. It doesn't feel misaligned. Oh. Oh. The one tine is a little narrower than the other one, but that shouldn't be what's causing that to happen. It should write fine. Maybe it just needs to be broken in more with some bigger shades. No, why? Just doesn't write right off the beginning. Let me try a different ink. This ink was working really good the other day. I guess I could use walnut since these aren't letters that I'm actually going to be sending. Swirl my walnut, get it all mixed up. I know I've used some Noodler's ink in the past that I enjoy. Some J. Herbin inks can be good, but again, it depends on the paper you're using and the nib that you're using. So I'm reluctant to suggest a specific fountain pen ink for calligraphy writing or for penmanship, just because I don't personally use them very often. I have experience with a lot of fountain pen inks, but just in fountain pens, not really with. I use calligraphy ink for calligraphy, and for penmanship, I use penmanship ink, and I use fountain pen ink for fountain pens, because that's what they are designed for. That'll work. This nib does have little dry issues though, which are with the nib and not the ink, which is interesting. Okay, let's try an envelope. Now I do want to give myself a baseline. Do I need a baseline? No. But do I like having one? Yes. The way I'm going to do that, what size baseline? This should work. I just put a guide sheet inside my envelope. I know many penmen write without guides, and I think that's a very important skill to be able to do. When I do practicing, I do my cross writing with, obviously when you cross write, there's no guide. So when you're doing that, you're practicing writing without a guide sheet. I think that is a very important and good skill to practice. That being said, if you're writing, I don't see the harm in having a guide sheet. I do think it's important to not need. It's like training wheels on a bicycle. You guys know, you see me every week. I write with a guide sheet. I almost always write with a guide sheet, unless I'm using black paper that isn't lined already. I'll just go for it. I think I really like having a ruled sheet. The angle, less important. If I'm being honest, I don't pay attention to the angle line. It's just kind of there when I'm writing. It's a base guide. But I think it's very important as a penman, as we're growing and learning, to train ourselves to not require these things, just like training wheels on a bicycle. I think they can be good tools, but I don't think they should be relied upon. In my own personal opinion, anyways. Okay. I need to find... I want to write Sherlock Holmes a letter. Sherlock Holmes address. (221B) Baker Street. But I want the full address. Is it London, England? Does he have a postal code? I guess it's just we'll just finish with London. And, I mean, don't feel bad, Rose. Most of us are dependent on guide sheets. I will say, if it's very different, like that statement that I made is primarily if you're using movement writing. If you're a rapid writing penman, then I think it's important. I mean, half the training of rapid writing is movement and just learning to write basically without lines anyways, because your muscles are training to do it. If you're writing slower, it is much more difficult to write without a line. So if you're writing slower, I think that's why I got in the habit of always using a guide sheet, because I wrote slow for so many years and still do when I'm doing certain commissions and certain types of writing. So I really like having the guide sheet there. But I do think it's good to train yourself to not require it. No, John, because then I gotta erase, and that's too much work. When I'm finished the envelope, I want it to be done. I mean, you could technically, for an envelope you're sending to somebody, I guarantee none of the envelopes in that scrapbook, none of them were lined. That's not a thing. If somebody did an engrosser script one, they would maybe line it, but no, I highly doubt that those envelopes were lined. There, you just write. You write in a straight line, because that's how we practice. So, Sherlock Holmes, 221B Baker Street, London. It's just that? Do I have to put London, England? What do I have to do? I don't think I can Google Maps 221B Baker Street. Oh, I can. It exists. That's fun. So the full address, oh, it does have a, so they have postal codes like Canada, NW16XE. So I guess we'll have to, I want to do it right. So I guess I will employ the business penmanship one. Yeah, if I don't have to line something, I don't want to have to erase things. There's potential you erase too soon and the ink smudges, or there are some inks when they're on some paper, when you erase them, they will fade where you erase, which I dislike. Time. I don't want to have to wait for the ink to dry and then erase it. Once I write it, I just want it to be done. That being said, if I'm lining up a piece, like an actual piece on black paper, I will line it in pencil usually. If I'm needing perfection and I'm wanting it to be exactly right, I will line it. And I will erase it, but I wouldn't for an envelope. I don't think. Okay. Mr. Sherlock Holmes. Sherlock Holmes. Baker Street, London, UK. Oh, we can fit it all like that. Okay. Now we'll see if I'll nib snap this paper or not. It is very, I don't know if you can hear it. It's very textured paper. Tell you what, I'm gonna practice on a scrap envelope that has doodles on the one side. This is my warm-up envelope. Okay, that's enough. Go for it. Sherlock Holmes. Got a little crazy on that last ascenders angle. Oopsies. That's smart to do, John. I mean, I have a neighbor who I'm pretty sure he puts in his Amazon orders. I'm pretty sure he has my name and my buzzer number. because I'll get buzzed and they'll buzz me. I guess my name is also on the front of the door, so that might be how they know my name. But they'll say, we got a shipment for number 106, and he told us to buzz you because he's not home. So I'm definitely, I don't know the guy, but I'm on his list of, I let people deliver packages to him every few days. Okay, 221B Baker Street. This is maybe the wrong size guide sheet for this. Try a different one. A little bit tighter space, so I save space. A little bit. That's probably better. Ugh, I don't like writing numbers. Now on the sign at the building, the B is lowercase, but in Google it's capitaled. It's capitalized. Baker Street. I forgot to shade it. I was in, it's not a very good business penmanship S, but I was in a business penmanship frame of mind and I forgot to put a shade there. Whoopsies. Is it just London? No, wait, there is more. Google. London. We'll put the UK on that line as well. See, this seems very tight together. And now the postal code. NW1. Oh, see, and this is where postal code messes it all up. But I haven't used business penmanship capitals yet, so it's gonna look weird if I do now. NW1 6 XE. So that is probably not at all the right way to write that address. And then just for fun, yeah, see, that looks too condensed. It doesn't look like a there's too much information there. Too much stuff. But over here, I want to write care of Dr. Watson. There. But I don't like that. It looks too... I mean, it doesn't look bad. But it's just too... It's too dense. I assume this would get sent. I assume this is legible enough, but I'm not sure. It's possible. Well, technically, 221B Baker Street, London, UK, and all of this should be in business penmanship. Technically. But I don't like business penmanship, so I don't like doing it. Most weddings don't use ornamental penmanship. Most weddings end up, if they lean towards like a Spencerian or ornamental penmanship, they end up doing it. I mean, it's just simplified, not super, not flourished. They use more of a traditional, a basic Spencerian. But the days of not dense OP envelopes are over. It's true, James. It's true, but is there not a way that I could write this address less dense? I want to try it on a piece of paper. I'll try it on a piece of paper without the or with business penmanship. We'll see. I guess I could switch back to white ink now. Yeah, I'm gonna switch back to white ink just because it's fun. Keeps things interesting. Whoa! Dizzy Bunny! Who do we got? Katisha! Welcome to the channel, Katisha. I'm assuming you're in the chat at the moment. guessing. Yeah, let's go back to white ink, just for fun. Because we can. If only, James. I wish we could go back to that way. But there's just too many people now. Let me get my ink stirrer turned on. Here we go. Mix up my ink. Get a piece of paper. It's the cheapest black paper ever, but it gets the job done. Okay, now, can we do this? Could we do this more condensed? Let's see. What 3 words? It's location. What is that? I don't know what you're talking about, James. Oh. Sherlock at my house. That works. Ugh. My forearm's stuck on that exit stroke. Ugly H. Sherlock Holmes. Sure, that's the name. Then we make everything else super simple. I don't even know how to do a business penmanship beat off the top of my head. Is that right? I don't know if that's right or not. $221B Baker Street. Woo! This one looks way better so far. Now we'll do business penmanship zip code. I mean, this one's also a little bit taller. This spacing is a different size, but whoops, I got the address wrong. That's okay. That works. I think that looks better. Slightly shaded business penmanship is the only way to go. If they would let us do the bottom left corner thing, then we could do it even better, I think. Because we could do, here, we'll try again. Do another one. Whoa! What happened? Sherlock Holmes. You can have that one. London. It's not a business penmanship K, but that's all right. And technically I would make the spacing, yeah, I'll just do it here. I don't have a line for it, but we would do... Whoops. Let's pretend that connected. We do that, and then in the bottom left corner of the envelope, we write $221. I think that looks the best. That looks the closest to like vintagey. Sorry, I haven't been paying attention to chat while I was writing. Now I have to catch up. Oh, there's not that much. Yeah, plain penmanship. Plain artistic penmanship. They had lots of different names for it. The shaded basically traditional Spencerian, but slash shaded business penmanship. Yep, they got crazy artistic on the left hand side with the street address. Maybe I'll try to find one that has it on an angle. There was one that even did the whole address here, and their return address was fully took up the entire left side, which was kind of interesting, which I'd never seen before. I like the way that looks though on an envelope. Of the Sherlock Holmes one, that's my favorite. This one here, so long as they'd allow us to use that bottom corner. How big are the lowercase letters? I don't know, probably like 1.5 millimeters. That's kind of my standard. My hat's gonna be in the thing. Yeah, like 1.5 millimeters for like London and Baker Street. Tiny lowercase. Kind of messy writing, but that's okay. Yep, that's how I would do it. So I gotta do tests now to see if I can get away with using the bottom left corner for the street address. Because that will be awesome. That will make me very happy. Is there any specifications for the minimum X height? What do you mean specifications exactly? Are there, if you're asking, do they have to be a specific size? No. I mean, potentially a post office worker needs them to be a particular size, but I think this is plenty big enough for them to read. Like that looks, it just looks way better than this. This envelope doesn't look very good. It looks okay, but it just looks messy. It's too busy. There's too much stuff. Too many flourishes. It would need to be simplified. It also shouldn't be in walnut ink, but that's okay. Yeah, I'm not sure if the post office has rules or not. I think I just have to try to send some letters and see if they get sent, basically. That's the only way to do it. I mean, I technically write letters. I write and send letters pretty much every week, every couple weeks. Because when people order blotters from me, I write thank you notes / little mini half-size letters. I don't put them in envelopes. They get rolled up in the leather and get sent to people. Check out the blotter I was working on today. It's cool. Give a preview. This is the first time I've done this on a blotter, I think, unless I'm misremembering, but I think it's the first time. So it's for a customer named Margaret, and it is overlaid, so different foils. So her logo in the back in black, and then overlaid in gold going over top of the black, which is kind of neat. Something that's new for me. And this signature is a little bit larger than I normally do. So the lines are a little bit wider, but kind of neat. I've done overlapping, but just never on a blotter before. So I figured I would give it a shot. And it turned out pretty nice. Pretty nice. Dennis the Menace? Maybe. To go back into the origin and see which came first. Alright, well now what are we gonna do? Go look at some more envelopes here. Like, this is just so huge. Look how big. Like, this is a full-size envelope. So the same size as the ones I have. And that just means that, oh, sorry. blown out. That means that name, Penman's Art Journal, is huge. Like, that takes up almost the full width of a sheet of paper. It's a giant one. And yeah, they have the Sherlock Holmes and the London and the UK. I wasn't using foresight. If I didn't do this exit flourish down here, if I did something up here, which is what I probably should have done, I would have made the UK also flourished, like London. And then this would have just gone, yeah, where it is in business penmanship, and then with the stuff on the bottom left corner. Pretty cool. It's pretty sweet. What else we got in here? Are there any other ones that people want to look at? Wait, there was one that somebody on the Discord posted. I think this is from the Iampith scrapbook, or from Michael Saul's book. I can't remember. But this one's pretty cool. So another example of, this is to E.A. Lupfer from M.A. Albin. Ooh, M.A. Albin did some pretty awesome work. So they fit everything here. Giant name, which I like. Sometimes they would use these little circles instead of dots right in the middle, which is interesting. Not something you see very often, but you did see it. I honestly don't know what page. Somebody just posted this on the Discord and said, I think they said from Michael Saul's book. You could check the OP chat to see, but I just saved it from there. So if it's in Michael Saul's book, I mean, I guess I can look at Michael Saul's book and see if I see it in there. Ah! I'm dropping postcards. Is it in this big old book? Where would letters be? Letters. Envelopes. They would be in the superscription. Right? Oh. Page 515. I don't think this picture is from Michael Saul's book, because the picture is sharper than Michael Saul's book. So I don't know where this picture's from. Maybe it's in the Iampith archives, probably. But page 515, if you have Ornamental Penmanship Volume 2 by Michael Saul. All right. Good morning, Lori. Sweet dreams. Good 1 in the morning. This one's another, they just looked so good when they were minimal. They didn't have to include a lot of information. Like this one, the business educator is in there. This one doesn't even have a street address. It's crazy to me that in, what year was this? In 1932, which isn't even that, like, that's not that ancient, but in 1932, you could literally send a letter to Columbus, Ohio, without a street address or a postal code. Just a name. No zip code, no anything. Just a name and a business name. And it got where it needed to go. Like his return address has 209 Monticello, so San Antonio, Texas. So he had a street address, but did the business educator just not have a street address? Return if not delivered. So they just took a chance, maybe? I know most had a street address, but it's fascinating. I just love that idea. It's like, I know small towns in Alberta, for example, up in Canada, there are places that you could send a letter to a small town with a name. Example, if you sent, my town is pretty tiny, where I grew up, there's 6,000, 4,000 people, probably 4,000 or 5,000 people. But if you sent something to Barhead, Alberta, this is something else I should test. If you sent something to my hometown and just put Michael Ward, Barhead, Alberta, done, it would get to me eventually, I'm pretty sure. We are the only people in our town with the last name. A lot of people in the town know my father, so they wouldn't necessarily know me, but just the last name, they would phone. They would basically phone my parents to ask if it belonged to them. But it's fascinating to me. I love that idea that there was so much mail going around at that time as well, but things could get by without street addresses. That's fascinating. So this one's not even so much, I'm not going to recreate this envelope because it's not even really addressed. Well, I mean, it's nothing like what we have to do today, so it doesn't really count. And we could do one of these ones. I'm not going to be able to do this pelican, but in the Discord, some of you were posting Courtney, who often addressed his envelopes like so, with his little ovals, his elongated ovals turned into fish, and then drew a pelican eating the fish. I've never done the fish before. I've seen many photos of Courtney and his fish. I think this is from the Donner scrapbook, the Donner collection, but I can't be sure. I talked too long, my ink dried out. Come on. What am I doing? I'm not on a baseline at all. Yeah, Michael Saul has the Donner collection. That's in his possession currently. So that's why I feel like it's in there. And this is what, it crashed my phone, but Martha Scribes, on Martha's website, she has scans. She has the scans of those, and there's one of the PDFs is called Envelopes and Names, I believe. And I think this one's in there. Or it might be at Iampith. No, because Mike has the original. Or Mike just has it from another collection, but I feel like it might be in the Donner collection. But I could be mistaken. Okay, where's this fish? Okay. Mr. J.S. Griffith. And he made all of his ovals being super horizontal so that he could turn them into fish. Okay. I forgot to add a shade at the bottom here. So I'm going to tip one in. A slight shade. Fish, fish, fish. Yeah, he did. There are some examples of this one, not this letter specifically, but there are some examples of this one, or of him doing fish. Well, there's some in Michael Saul's book as well, and I'm pretty sure there's some in the Iampith scrapbooks, or in the Iampith archives. Oh, lost my hairline entirely. Whoa. Focus, sorry. Whoa, my fish are all kinds of wonky shaped. Sorry, Courtney, my fish aren't going to be as good as yours. My apologies. Inconsistent hairlines. I did not talk about my ink stirrer yet. I can. Let me just finish this and I will pull it into camera and show it a little bit closer if you'd like to see it. Illinois, one more fish. There, at least that one was shaped right. And then he turns them all into little fish. Mine aren't going to be very good shaped fish because they're wonky. What makes them into fish? Oh, and he gives them little tails. It's important that they all cross. So they have tails. My fish are much fatter than his fish. I feel like I want to give him a little air bubbles. Bloop, bloop, bloop. Except for the one that's being eaten by the pelican, but I'm not going to draw the pelican. Oh, and they need bottom fins too. So it's very helpful to know what a fish looks like if you're going to draw fish. I suppose. Could do some research and figure out what these fins are actually supposed to look like. My inkster, it's kind of just a box. There's nothing fancy to it. Oh, my new inkster? I definitely don't have a new inkster done because I haven't done any carving, and the new one that I want to make is going to be quite elaborate. Whoops, that one has an X on his face, and I don't know why. There, I drew fish, like Courtney. First time trying to do that. I mean, that's not, I don't think that's really challenging, but a fun thing that he used to do. And one other neat thing I will show real quick on his envelopes. It's kind of hard to see, but this entire thing has been like shaded or has been filled in with like a light green, like a wash basically, maybe like a watercolor or a colored pencil or something, because the fish are colored, like they have yellow faces, so they're colored and shaded. But he would leave the inside of his ovals are all white. But it's neat because when you look at the, like if you see this piece in person or the originals and whatnot, the color is very subtle, so you don't notice right away that it's like dark on the outside and light on the inside. It's kind of, you look at it and you go, wait, did he? Oh, he did. Then you notice that it's shaded, like for the eye, for example. All of this outside of the eye is colored, but inside is light. And to my knowledge, he was, if not the only one, he was the main penman who did that, because specifically of the drawings. Courtney was, I mean, there was a reason that they called him the Pen Wizard, because he used to do some really interesting things. And he created scripts. Like he has a script that looks like Asian characters, looks like kanji symbols in brush calligraphy, but it's English. It's hard to read, but they're English writing. He also has an alphabet that I think he called a figures alphabet that is all numbers, but he has them put together and spaced in a way that when you look at it from like at a distance, sort of, you can read it just like English. And he was the only penman who really did that stuff, or he would do like really, really condensed pieces that were really cool. But he used to experiment and play, and this is just a perfect example of one of the things that he used to experiment and play with. Similar to Dennis, but in a much more legible, playful, artistic variation, whereas Dennis is sort of in the mad scientist realm of the thing. I kind of feel like when I say, like I posted in Discord, I would love to hear the old penman sort of talk about Dennis behind his back. I also am curious about how some people talked about Courtney, because I guarantee there were penmen who, anytime he did fish, guaranteed there had to be penmen that sort of made fun of that. Oh, Suzanne, you didn't miss the pelican. The pelican is here. I didn't draw the pelican. There's the pelican on the envelope. I did not do the pelican. I just left this fish a-flying, and he's alive, not about to be eaten by a pelican. But the pelican, I mean, there's no real, I wouldn't say there's any real penmanship technique in the pelican. It's just drawn. It is drawn with the same nib, but it's just, you just gotta learn how to draw a pelican to do that, or to copy that. But it's not like the fish who are created out of calligraphy or penmanship strokes. All right, let me show, because you guys were talking about it, my ink stirrer. So my ink stirrer is honestly nothing fancy. I actually just yesterday ordered parts to potentially make a new one. It probably won't happen anytime soon, but this is my ink stirrer. There's good ink stirrers on the market. There's really cost-effective ones and all that kind of stuff. But this is the one. I just wanted one that sort of matched my desk, and my jars would look good on it because it's made out of wood like everything else I own. So this was a prototype. The wood is just a dollar store box. The same type of, it was another one of these, the box that my watch storage box is made out of. Same thing. I just cut the pieces of of I don't even know what kind of wood it is. The piece of, it's like craft wood. It's not good wood. What up, Fozzie? I cut the wood to make this shape to craft this box. And then this is the dial. It clicks and goes full speed or turns down. This is actually a cap from an ink jar glued to the PCB board inside. And then to access it, well, here it's USB powered. So there's the plug. It's the USB. I didn't want to deal with batteries, so it charges, or it doesn't charge. There's no batteries inside it. It's powered by USB. And then this bottom plate, which is the bottom piece of wood, I won't take it all the way apart because the electronics, it's weird. It's, like I said, it's a prototype, so it's not pretty inside. But this is held on by magnets. So there's 4 magnets on the bottom of this plate, and you can see in there, there's the motor inside. And all the motor is, which is what most DIY ink stirrers are, it's a computer fan that just has a positive and a negative magnet glued to the top of it. So when they spin, they make the little magnetic pill spin inside the bottle. That's essentially all a stirrer is. A stirrer is pretty simple. It's a motor with a bar that has a magnet on each side, and that's all it is. There's not much to them. And the best motor, what do you mean show you? I can't take it all the way apart because there's like well, here, I guess I can. Here we go. So there's the fan that's inside there. There's the PC board and all the wiring. It's all soldered and it goes on in there. And then this base plate is just wood. Those little grooves are cut to hold the PC board, which is no longer sitting in them because I pulled it out. But it sits vertically in those, and that just holds them still. So when I turn the knob, it doesn't change. But then that whole thing just clips on. It's not fitting right now because I messed up the... So basically, how this works, the PC board gets set in those little... This is the part that's poor design, but the PC board sits in those little slots. Ideally, they would be attached much more securely, but this works. But they slides in there like so, and then this whole bottom piece goes up and clips on by a magnet. So that way, that's when the magnets were a way that I didn't have to deal with like screwing the thing on or having like a clip mechanism to open it. It's just the whole base plate can open, so I can access the electronics and stuff. But there it is. It's not powerful enough for me. The fan is apparently, for its size, the brand, it's Nocturna. A lot of people use them for computer cooling and for coolers for 3D printers, but they are like the world's quietest fan, which is why I got it, because I didn't want it to be making noise on my writing desk. But it is not quite powerful enough. So I'm going to be experimenting with some other fans and some alternate... basically, if I can get the electronics figured out the way I want to change the dial system here. I don't like it. I'd rather it be a different system. So I'm going to mess with all that, and then once I get that figured out, I might carve something substantial to make it out of, instead of just a wooden box. We'll see. The next one will end up being a box until I get the electronics all figured out. But I'm not an electrician, so I don't know when I'll get around to all that. But it was a fun little design. Fun little weekend project a while ago. And it works really good. For my white ink, it stirs my white ink perfectly to keep it nice and mixed for me, so I don't have to stir it every 15 minutes or so. But I think on that note, ladies and gentlemen, I'm about done for the evening. I'm hot. I'm sticky. Addresses are cool. I said it at the beginning and I'll say it, but who knows if I'll follow through with it. I do want to start writing more letters. So I might do a call out on the Discord for addresses in the next little bit here, because I do want to write some people. But I think that's gonna be it for tonight. I think we're gonna wrap up the our late night live right there. It's 11:34. Sorry, we didn't make it to midnight tonight. Maybe next week. Hopefully it's cooler next week, and then I'll probably be a little bit less sticky. I can't believe there's still 16 people here. That's fun. Thank you everybody for hanging out. I hope this was fun, entertaining. If you do envelopes or if you check out the PDF, it's in the description now, but it's just a WeTransfer, so it's not going to be live for super long. I just need to find a way to host it. My website doesn't have, I can't be hosting giant PDFs, and I have some PDFs to share with people that are really big, so I gotta find a way to do that. So the link in the description might not work, but it might work for a little while. Or also the link is in the Discord. If you guys practice any not alphabets, if you practice any of the addresses in there, post them up on the Discord. Let me see them. If you send a letter that has the address in the bottom left corner and it works, let me know. If you draw that pelican and it looks awesome, post it up. I would love to see it. But yeah, thanks a lot, everybody. This was a fun one. This was chill one. Sorry I didn't miss last week. And I will see you. Wait, let me double check my calendar before I say I'll see you next week. I am going to be out of town in a little bit. Will I be here next week? I will be here next week. The week after that, I might not be here. We'll see. Depends on the travel schedule. But see you next week, everybody. Make sure that you are falling in love with the process. And don't forget that life should be just a bit of silliness, really. Good night, everybody.